I want to say something about something that's given me a lot of peace of mind, but not what probably is what's normal. When I was insecure, I was very easily hurt when people didn't want anything to do with me and they wanted to walk out of my life. So it would hurt my feelings. I would cry, I would get upset and all that. And it's natural to do that. You got emotions. You know, emotions, they move. They get hurt. It's just normal. But we can be over emotional and overly insecure. And when we're insecure, we cling to people and refuse to let them go. And that's overdoing it. So, and all this all came to my mind tonight when I was in New World, at the supermarket in Tokoroa, New Zealand. And I was in the supermarket, and a girl I know who's I think very highly of, and she's heaps younger than me. And I think I told her mother once. I said, if there was ever a woman in the world I want to marry, it would be your daughter, except for she's far too young. So that was the end of that. But when I saw her tonight, she was very rude to me and very curt, very rude, very. I don't want to talk to you. It was very, very obvious. So, and I didn't feel hurt. And I think you get to the stage when you get mature, not when you get apathetic, but you get mature enough to understand that other people have their positions in their mind in life of you, themselves, and other people. There's a really wonderful um, story statement going around that says, in every person that you meet in your life, there is a version of you that they believe is the real you, but it isn't. And even you have your own version of you. So when people like this female tonight decide all of a sudden they don't want anything to do with you, they don't want to talk to you, they're very rude and curt with you, that is a version of you that they've come up with in their mind that tells them something that they think is true of you. And I learned this a lot with the character assassination. People will tell stories about you, tell lies about you, and all the people who are fooled by the character assassination have created in their own minds, especially because they're people that they've never even heard of you before, and all of a sudden you're in their life as this ogre, this really horrible person. So they assume that this ogre, who they've been told exists. They believe it's real. So, and you can't blame them for that, and you can't hate them for that, and you can't wish ill of them for believing in something that's not true. And so every time they see you from that moment on, their minds are very suspicious. And they're thinking, what are you up to? And all this sort of stuff. And it depends on what they've been told. If they told you're a rapist, then every time you're near a female, they're like, oh, he's after her. If they say you're a wife beater, oh, he's after a woman to marry, to beat. If he's a criminal, don't trust him in our shop. You know, see what I mean? So they have this. If they were told you're a criminal and you stole, every time you walked into certain shops, they would always be monitoring you with their cameras and everything, waiting for the day to catch you, and they never will, because it's a character assassination that's made up. And so what I learned was people have a view of you in their mind that they believe is you, and they react to that image of you that they think is real. Does not mean it's real. It just means they have a version of you that at this time tells them something. In 2 years' time, it could tell them something else. It's kind of like um, people could be told really bad things about a person, and then 2 years later, while half the town's absolutely hating that person does something, saves a child from a fire, or takes a great risk with their life to help someone else, and all of a sudden, everyone in town has changed their view about that person. And then people say, but I thought you said that was a bad person. I say, oh no, Obviously, that was rumours. This is a really good person. So people need, they have a view of you, and people need something to happen in their life to change that view so that you become something else. So if you're offended, if you know people around you and who see you, I mean, this is a classic one. You're walking down the street, like down the main street in town, and they cross the road when they see you. This happened a lot with me in the character assassination. And it used to be extremely painful. Now it doesn't affect me much at all. I just look at the person and think, oh, another person sucked in. It's basically all I think, and then I just put it out of my mind. But I do keep a thought in my mind to avoid that person in the future, unless that person makes an effort to be my friend again. Otherwise, I won't go near them. If you're religious, you might take this view, which is the view I have, is if a person shows me they dislike me, like this girl has, and she works in a fish and chip shop, what I will do from now on to, because she's clearly didn't want anything to do with her, she was very rude, which was, when people are very rude, they're giving you a message. They're not saying, I hate you, they're not saying, I don't like you, I think it's scum, but they don't say it verbally, but the way they spoke to you, this way they're very rude to you, tells you the same thing. So this is their view. This is this new perception they have of you, and I believe we should respect that view, even if it's not true. They have a view. They've come across this view. They believe this is you, and in respecting that view, you just avoid them in the future. And so when I go to that shop from now on, I'll make sure her car's not parked outside, so she's not working that night, and therefore I won't bump into her. And she'll get her wish. She won't see me, and I won't be a hassle. The girl down the road who, I don't think she lives there anymore, who did the character assassination on me, every time her birthday and Mother's Day comes up, I normally cycle a lot and go past the house because it's towards the lake. So what I do is on those days, I never go past her place. And that's kind of, and other people I know like that, it's kind of a way of saying, I just don't want, I know you can't stand seeing me. I know you don't want me in your life or anywhere around you. So I respect that, and I don't believe it's true. I don't believe what you believe is true, but I don't want to get in your face. I don't want to upset you, and I don't want to ruin your day. Because you can imagine you'd meet a person, and if they really thought, hold on a second, please. So my view was, if the person really dislikes me on their special day, I just don't want to get in their face. And even if they're completely wrong, it just, I don't know, it's just a way of, I wish them happiness, even though they hate me. And I wish and I hope and I pray that they have a good life. They don't have to have me in their life to be happy. See what I mean? So it's no problem. So, and this female tonight showed me that quite plainly and clearly. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want anything to do with you. So I will do everything I can within my power and respect for her and her family and her future to stay away from her. Her sister, I get on with extremely well. Every time we go in the shop, her sister chats away with me for ages. So it's obviously a very personal thing, not a family thing. So that's really good. I knew it. She was going to jump over there. Yes, madame. And so, yeah. So those are my views on how people. That's my way of reacting to it in such a way that it doesn't affect me in depression. I don't get depressed when people dislike me. I don't get depressed when even people I feel very strongly about, like this girl tonight. We've been friends since 2004. And tonight was a clear sign, I don't want anything to do with you. So since then, we've been good friends, but in respect for her, I don't want to upset her. And I also just see it as an understanding. You understand where she's coming from, and therefore an understanding where she comes from shows me that I don't need to be hurt. I don't need to be insecure. I don't need to be upset. And it doesn't need to bother me. It's all about her living her life as she sees fit. In 15 years' time, we may meet again and she'll say, "Hi, how are you?" But on the religious sort, I often say to God, I say, "Look, that person clearly doesn't want me. I'm going to avoid that person." And then, and I won't go anywhere where that person is. And then often I'll run into them in the supermarkets and stuff. And I'll say to God, "Well, obviously you want that person to probably read something on Facebook I've written or something like that, or not to be so harsh, or maybe God's telling that person that what they've heard is rumors or lies, and they should know better, and to question where they get the information from." But it's no problem. So if you feel insecure and upset about how people think about you and talk about think about you and how they behave towards you, just let it go. Don't stress yourself on it. Don't become anxious. Don't become depressed. It's not a problem. And if God keeps bringing them back, at least you're doing nothing to make them in your life. So it's for some other reason that you can't comprehend. I mean, we don't know everything that's going on in the world and what God's doing and what's happening. So we don't know, we don't understand. So we'll let them have their life and we'll have ours, won't we? She's going to sleep. So, yeah, so live and be happy.